Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another session of Dragonmark Symphony. We have been away for a hot minute, and a few things have changed. Like my hair, it's a little longer. We're all here. We're all ready to play once again. And we all remember what happened last time, right?
I have a picture perfect memory of what happened, but, just for the viewers' sake, because it's been like a month and a week, or at least a month, let's go over like a small little recap, just for like
A small
the
little
viewers.
recap. We'll do a short little, as a treat, we'll do a small little recap.
Yeah.
See, the group was deep down in the ground, trying to locate a means of being able to travel back to a wizard's tower. The group had found themselves on this island inhabited by these replicas, these clones made of a singular person by two wizards. One of the wizards, they believe, is the owner of said tower that they came from. And if we pull further back, the reason they're here in the first place and the reason that they entered the tower was because Silva has been bitten by a werewolf, or at least seems to be a werewolf, some sort of werewolf.
A were-rat wolf.
A were-rat wolf.
A lycanthrope.
There's obviously great concern that she is going to transform or something terrible will happen to her. So the group is trying to get their way back to the wizard's tower. In order for them to do that, they need to locate a mirror that will, in theory, they'll be able to pass through, that will take them back. The group found themselves deep down into the earth where they fought this enormous shadowy serpent. During the fight, Dak left the land of the living and found themselves imprisoned inside of one of the large crystals jutting out of the ground. The rest of the group could not see or hear them. And so, assuming that he is gone, they continued onward, leaving him behind, forced to watch as they left. The rest of the group was able to locate another room where there was a large mirror on their left side up against the wall. Appears to be potentially what they were looking for, as well as this enormous grand pedestal that goes several feet up into the air, and an enormous table at the end of which sat a large skeleton, absolutely covered and filled to the brim with all kinds of jewels and trinkets and gold and silver. Set. You went up that pedestal up to the very top and found something akin to like a writing desk, and there was a book on top. You chose to open up the book and see what was written inside on the very first page. Do you recall what that was?
I literally had it on a note document on my computer for weeks, and then my computer shut down to do updates and I lost it.
No.
So no, I do not have it.
You're grounded for 2 months. So inside of the book, you saw written within it, property of Erebus Enthel.
Viper or something, right?
Oh. You almost got it. What was
something Viper.
For vipers alike.
For vipers alike. That's what it was.
Johannes, you sat down at the table next to the skeleton.
Yes.
And then wound up having your arm grabbed by its hand. You panicked, flailing as you kind of stepped away, and pulled the arm right off the skeleton. You then pointed at the skeleton with its own arm. And it told you in a booming voice that it was extremely rude for you to point at it with its own hand. And then the skeleton stood up, and many of the trinkets and the gold and the baubles were sort of pouring out of it, spilling out like intestines. And this skeleton, easily like 7.5, 8 feet tall, just towers over top of you as it stands. But we're not going to worry about that right now.
No.
Because back in the cave, where Dak was trapped within the crystal, they were found by someone or something. A deer, perhaps, with a normal set of eyes.
Thank you for specifying.
When Dak
confident they
asked
have
that
six.
deer, where they were and what was happening, the deer solemnly informed them, "You're in hell." And so we return. There is no sound coming from anywhere else within this cave, nothing to echo off of the walls, not even the drip of cave water. It is silent as the grave. There is no one in this room except for you and the deer that stands there staring at you, eyes unblinking.
I think Dak in this moment is still like 3 degrees into deep confusion. His mind logically tells him, you might be dead, but the fact that he still has a consciousness and is still having thought is making him very confuffled right now. But he does stare at the deer and say, "Whose hell?" Where souls go? Have I done? Is at this point he realizes that he doesn't have to speak common. If this is truly the afterlife, he switches to Readrin. So I'll just. What happens now?
Oh. The deer sort of shakes its head a little bit. And it responds to you in Readrin. Well, I suppose you could stay here if you preferred that, though most people wouldn't. Or you could leave. I believe your friends have already gone on without you.
I would much like to leave. How can one escape this fate?
The deer sort of slowly trots around. It's looking at all the angles of the crystal, sort of examining you like a art fixture in a museum. Looking around. Yes. I suppose. It examines the base of the crystal. It wouldn't be. Looks up at you. But you would have to decide. The deer sort of finishes its lap around and turns again to look at you. The eyes still haven't blinked yet. I think it is possible for me to set you free.
Are you a benevolent being? Or would this favor require a cost.
I cannot be benevolent. Not anymore. But those who walk among you, they are important in a way. I have strict orders. She has to be protected. But she also has to protect all of you. It's a complicated situation you're in. Right now, as you are, technically you are a wandering soul. Your body should be around here somewhere. But it's no point in trying to find it if you can't get into it anyways. We have to get you out of the crystal. I think we can. But I'm not allowed to be benevolent. So yes, I suppose there would have to be a price.
Say that Lady Silva must be protected, but so that in turn they can protect us.
There is a sea of red approaching us, child. Every day it draws closer.
Does forgive the interruption, but does this have anything to do with these dreams that have been plaguing me night after night during the events that I caught unawares?
In our dreaming hours, we find many connections with twilight. In doing so, we often learn more about the realms around us than we ever could in our waking hours.
My lord dear, what may I call you?
I am nameless, but I'm not alone. I am a member of the Dominion of Deer. There are many of us, but in a way we also are one.
Do you know of one? 6 red eyes?
Perhaps I've taken that form before. Or they have.
I see. It is not single mind, but rather a collective. Am I to believe that to be true?
In a way, yes. You'll forgive the lack of clarity on my behalf. We are small in the scheme of things, but what we represent is grand, powerful, embedded in every aspect of life, for it is the opposite of life.
It is not a concept unknown to me. Where I am from, much the same sentiments are shared. We are lesser than the inspired, but we're all part of a greater whole. Be inspired is to be greater parts to that. What does this cost that you would ask of me?
Death is a sacred thing. Did you know that someone among you has already cheated it.
Yes.
They did not walk away unscathed. You understand this?
I do.
Neither will you, I'm afraid. I will need to be able to take your soul and remove it from this crystal so that it can be returned to your physical body and you can be brought back. These are not ordinary crystals, dear boy. Did you see them in the ceiling? And the deer kind of looks up above you.
The encounter we found ourselves in was not a normal encounter.
Those shadows you saw above you, dear boy, a long time ago dark magic was conducted here. And so many souls were trapped, unable to complete their journey. The work you did here has ensured that those souls are now free.
Souls are able to walk their paths yet again.
The crystal's powers have been weakened. They no longer are the prison that they once were for these souls. Which means you should be able to be saved as well.
Thank you, my lord dear, for bringing me peace of mind.
But we must determine the price. And the only way to do that
Fuck.
is on the 50-yard line. Dan Campbell burst through a wall.
It's fine.
It's
I
so
think
funny
felt
because
fun.
it doesn't come off on stream either.
Oh, that's good.
right. I think
okay.
it fell within the 2-second limit anyway, so we should be good.
We have to work out the price, though. Are you familiar with the Avatar of Death?
That's personally no. Been
It's
blessed by no.
It is.
I apologize for interruption. Please, my lord dear, continue.
The Avatar of Death existed long ago. They were a part of the balance of your world. Among the many gods and deities, they were highly respected and feared. You may not know this, but the Avatar of Death is no longer with us. This is a recent change. I wish I could explain more, but it is complicated. Back then, to be brought back from death required currency to be exchanged. Look into my eyes, please.
Dak has been staring at the deer's eyes this entire time.
The deer
part
sort of
his
leans
custom.
in a little bit. You see these enormous, bulbous, clear eyes. You can almost see your face reflected inside of them. Watch closely. And the eyes rotate in their sockets, spinning sideways until they turn around. And now you see that where there was the black, inky eyes before, what appears to be a set of humanoid eyes. White, with green irises and black pupils. These eyes belong to a king. He suffered a terrible fate. But the Avatar of Death granted him the chance to come back. For a price. I notice that your eyes are not pure. I'm afraid they won't do. I'll have to take something else for the magic to work.
Is it something that you offer or something that I offer?
What are you willing to give?
You can take my voice. I need my hands to defend my friends. I need my legs to move. My eyes are no good. Sense of smell would not do you any good as well. That leaves me with my hearing and my voice. The two, I can afford to lose the voice.
Make a persuasion check.
That's a 17.
Nice.
The deer looks at you inquisitively. Can you really do without your voice?
In order to come back, to begin striding upon my own path once again, I will gladly give it up.
The deer approaches the crystal, getting right up to its edge, looking at you with these humanoid eyes. I don't know if the voice would be enough, but perhaps the lungs. Your lungs appear healthy, fresh, but they weigh you down. Without your lungs, you would be husk enough. I believe I could free you then.
In my lungs it is. Will it
Place
be-
your hand.
I apologize for the interruption. By all means, my lord dear, continue.
Perhaps I should take your voice. You are so quick to speak and yet so soft-spoken.
The curse of how I was raised.
No, child. Your father passed this curse on to you. We both know that. You feel a chill begin to run down your spine. Your father, he's responsible for all of this. It's a shame that his son has to do all the dying and go through all the pain on his behalf because he can't even be bothered to be here.
You are saying things that trouble me. You offer an explanation?
I could. I could explain many things to you. But I have to be careful. Or this no longer becomes an even trade, you see. You were heading for the Star Peaks, weren't you? With Ralphus.
True.
You should. With or without him. You should. I think you'll find a lot of the answers you're seeking there. And if not there, then answers to the questions that will lead to the answers you're seeking. It's all very
Zinch.
complicated. Within the Star Peaks, there is a pool of water, deep within a cave. It is a deep pool, though from the surface it appears shallow. If you dive down into the bottom of that pool, you will find a chest, a box, covered in arcane locks. You will not be able to open it, but you will be able to retrieve it. The others would need air, but you won't. Because you'll have no lungs to breathe.
If that is the task you have given to me, then I shall see it done. And this shall be a part of my path.
Then this shall be the trade. Close your eyes.
May I ask one last question?
You should, while you still can.
Will it hurt?
The trade will not. But the answers you'll find in the future, nothing could hurt more.
And take your price, my lord dear.
The deer reaches out a hoof. And as they reach towards the crystal, a human hand sprouts from the tip of it and touches the crystal itself. You immediately feel the as something erupts from your lungs and through your esophagus and out of you. You black out. Everything is dark. You cannot see. You take in a huge breath. But you never exhale. Instead, your eyes shoot open. You feel dirt and rock on your face. The feeling of cold and damp hits you. You are laying on a hard surface. And you are alive.
I take a second. And for brief seconds, Dak closes his eyes and there's a little bit of tears starting to fall. But he quickly wipes them away. And from wherever he's laying down, he does get up. Then he immediately starts looking for his compatriots.
As you get up, you see the deer at the entrance of a pathway leading off, heading further down. They went this way. At the bottom of this path, there will be a door. It is already ajar. You will find them there. Remember, stay close to them. Protect her. The item that you keep on your person. It will be necessary to find what you're searching for in the Star Peaks. All three, really. So keep them close.
Understand.
And Dak,
Yes.
good luck.
Thank you, my lord dear.
The deer bows away, slipping into the shadows in the corner of the cavern until it is no longer visible. The sound it makes is like that of a rattlesnake.
Dak is going to bow as well. Before running down the way he indicated to get to the door. Dylan, what is character sheet wise? What is Dak at?
So
Change your race to undead. And
you are, so you no longer have any failures. You are at let me fix this here. You are going to be at 5 hit points.
Hooray.
And note this down. You can either make these adjustments. You can either note these down now, or if you want to adjust them later. But you are now immune to the drowned condition. which I know is a very odd way of
Wow.
saying that, but you cannot drown in any substance. You cannot be asphyxiated in any way by choking, by smoke, by anything. You cannot die from suffocation or be harmed in that way. You also cannot speak, which means any spells that require a verbal component are not accessible to you anymore. I can't say whether that is forever or if you can work out a creative solution to that. Welcome back.
Thanks.
It doesn't take long for you to find an enormous iron door that is in fact already opened. You hear shouts and noises coming from inside.
Sorry, I just realized I can only cast 2 spells now. Interesting. That'd be great. Dak peeks in.
You see a very admittedly odd sight. It's an enormous cavern, immense cave walls that reach up. To the right is a gulch, a drop off. And just before that drop off, there's like an enormous wooden table. The first thing you see is Johannes standing next to the table, aghast, as a skeleton draped in gold and jewelry towers over him. Up on an enormous pedestal, you see Set clutching a book. And back down nearest to you is Silva. All 3 of your companions are here.
Wait. One of them wasn't here earlier, though. Wait a minute.
What do you mean?
Well, so like
Where did we leave off with you, Silva?
we were in the cave, weren't we? Or
No, we were in this room with skeleton and the mirror and observing stuff.
Yeah, it was the room after the cave.
Mhm.
all right. But still, I mean, what I'm saying is when we left that room and came into this room, there were 2 of us other than me. Like, I had 2 companions. Dak was disappeared when he was consumed by a worm. So he said there are 3
Right.
companions in this room.
So I was saying to Dak that there are 3 of his companions. Silva.
I just heard
Set.
Silva. There are 3 companions in this room.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, no, that was the end of one sentence and the start of another.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're just in the room, and he's coming.
So all of you are now reunited. You're all in the same room.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, if I were to turn around and see him, so yeah, kind of probably turning around, seeing Dak being like, hold on, actually, I have to double check something quick. I have anything.
Play the NFL.
Those are all used.
What is this skeleton doing, by the way?
Yeah.
So the skeleton is towering over Johannes right now. It is just standing almost completely straight up, though there is a slight arch to its spine. Just sort of glaring menacingly down at Johannes. So it is difficult to tell because it lacks eyes in its sockets, and a skull has difficulty furrowing its brow, so you can certainly imply it.
Okay.
I will say Dak is hanging back and staying behind the door, out of sight for the time being.
Oh, okay. Make a stealth check for me.
14.
Just
All
visiting
right.
from us.
Silva, if you would like to make a perception check,
Well, in
to
this
see.
scenario, I was gonna say in this scenario, I wouldn't be actively looking for him,
Sure, it's your
But-
call as to.
but 14 is below my passive perception.
There we go. Okay.
So,
Yeah,
the
so
question would
see.
be, as I am just trying to figure this room out, in that, would I potentially notice something around the door? And if so, what would I be seeing? Because despite that it's below, I can't imagine just like only for me it's like he's standing in the middle of the doorway.
You would see the slightest hint of a silhouette and small fingers curled around the edge of the door. A single eye peering out at you from the darkness.
Hmm. Is there any like specific object kind of nearby the door, like a brazier or like
There
like we
is
open the door and
actually
there's a doorknob or something like that?
Well, so flanking either side of the door would be these two like enormous braziers that are filled with candles, that are helping to kind of illuminate the room itself. There's candles sort of lighting up everywhere, so that the room has this kind of like faint glow.
Nothing on the door itself.
Nothing on the door itself.
Okay. So just seeing that, I'll go to, I guess, whoever would be closest to me and either Set or Johannes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a talking skeleton right now in the room.
Yeah, that's also Johannes is closest to you, and you can approach him as he is having a staring contest with this giant skeleton.
That just stood up and said that it was rude to point with his own hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay. There's a lot happening right now. Hello there, mistress. Hello there. I guess it's hard to. I can't. Sorry, I'm unable to tell as a skeleton. What is your name?
And who are you?
I believe they asked your name first. I say, holding the hand.
Quiet appendage stealer.
Okay. Well, let's slow down on the name calling here. All right, far be it from us to presume your current living status.
Tell him to give me my arm back.
I mean, he is right here. You can. I mean, it's kind of gesturing.
I don't want to talk to him. He was rude to me.
I can give you your arm back.
Then do it.
Are you gonna try to grab me again?
He just snatches the arm out of your grasp.
Okay.
It's like reattaches it to his shoulder.
Yes. So yes. Sorry about that. I mean, inevitably, yes, it is. While I can't say for the reason, and it is inevitably the truth that I don't think it was hard. It's hard for much to him to necessarily understand that you would have in fact awoken as a skeleton of your stature.
I don't follow.
Well, most of the time when we see skeletons, they don't wake up.
Hmm.
And I would have to say that's
Then I reckon
probably
you're
about,
confused.
I mean, a little bit. I'm also curious. By the way, my name is Silva.
Hmm.
Since they seem to have happened around the same time, do you currently have friends that are also awake around the area here?
Mm, no, miss. It's only me here. You're in my domain. Hmm. All of
Okay.
you should take a seat. I
Well,
imagine there is much for us to discuss.
true. The reason I ask is there's something outside the door. And I wasn't sure if it was related to this.
I don't follow.
I think it's at that time that Dak fully opens his door.
Okay, because if you didn't, there was going to be a cast of vicious mockery towards you.
That's fair.
But you
Always
did,
still
so.
attacking shadows.
Hey, I saw a hand. Or I saw fingers.
Yeah.
I saw fingies.
So when Dak opens his door, he stands there looking haggard and very, very tired.
Yeah, so I'll do the turnaround because I was about to do the vicious mockery, and then I'll see it's you, and I'm like, oh my gods. Dak.
Dak opens his mouth to say something out of habit, and nothing comes out.
Wait, what?
I'll fly over to Dak. Try to guide him into the room.
Can I see Dak?
Absolutely.
Dak? You're okay?
Where did you go?
We cried over you.
Dak opens his mouth to, again, mostly out of habit. And it's as if he's trying to say something, but there's no words coming out of his mouth. So
Are you okay? Can
instead,
you
he's
speak?
Dak looks at Johannes and slowly shakes his head.
Oh no.
Here. Well, hold on. You had some capacity to you could connect with us before, right? Can you try to do that now?
Oh, just the telepathic thing.
Dak will use bonus action to focus his mind, and he's going to focus on Johannes to make a connection there, and he's going to ask, "Can you hear me?"
I
Dak.
focused my mind.
I will say that this action, I must ask you a question. This action requires much less exertion on your part than it did before. It comes to you quickly and naturally. A curious thought crosses your mind as you reach out. You may be able to do this at any time, free of the bonds of physical exertion.
Something for later. But Dak right now does ask Johannes, can you hear me?
And I can hear him, correct?
You can. You hear Dak's voice ringing out in your head.
In my own head, then I just say, "Oh, good God. I'm glad you're okay. You have some explaining to do, though." After, and then out loud, I say, "After we deal with this guy," and then I look back at the skeleton.
Are we in danger?
I'm not sure yet. He's just kind of like abrasive. But just because he has an intimidating stature doesn't mean that he necessarily wants to hurt us yet.
I can hear all of this, by the way. All of you take a seat. We have many chairs.
I was gonna say, with Johannes was also speaking telepathically, right?
No, I said those last parts out loud.
Okay. Well then. Okay. Well, let's Johannes. Can we please be more polite?
I was trying to be polite. I was saying he doesn't want to hurt us.
There were statements before that, prior to that, that I feel maybe betrayed some of the politeness that could have been had. Are there just chairs though in the room?
So this wooden table, I described before, it's like a huge, like almost like a banquet table. It's enormous. And there's like 7 or 8 chairs going around it, wooden chairs. So there are plenty of seats available right at this table. The table itself has there's various like precious trophies and jewelry and things like that have kind of been scattered across it, as well as like these brass plates and silverware that have just sort of been left and discarded. But there's no food or anything that you can see. It's just tableware and crown jewels.
Got it. Okay, well, Set, Johannes, Dak, I guess let's take a seat for now and let's figure this stuff out. Maybe they can help us.
The room's not big enough that I was not privy to any of this, correct?
You could the skeleton, despite the lack of vocal cords, speaks with a very impressive timbre, and so you were able to hear everything that he's been saying.
Okay. I will slip the book into my bag, and with my bow out and ready, I will start slowly making my way down the stairs from the balcony area.
All right. If you wish to rejoin your companions, he will gesture to the many chairs that are available. Please, everyone sit.
Dak,
I'll put it down.
I sit down.
I sit
Well,
down
I've been
as-
sitting down.
I sit down as well.
All of you appear famished and mostly dead, and that's saying something coming from me.
Dak nods and bows towards the skeleton man.
Just a quick question: was that shadowy demon serpent, a friend of yours, a pet, a relative?
No, and he slams his hand on the table. Food first, questions after. And
Understood.
he waves his hand, and as he does, a sheen goes across the table as an enormous banquet appears out before you. A full rotisserie turkey, all kinds of meats and freshly picked vegetables, a hero's feast of sorts that is sort of laid out before you. Eat up. We have much to talk about, and it will be difficult to do so while you are famished.
I won't say no to good food.
Dak takes the bread and puts it in his pockets.
Well, I know it's Dak.
Yeah. We can
believe
be
this to be
sure
an
that that's
imposter.
Dak. We can be sure that that's Dak.
The skeleton looks at you. You remind me of some of the peasants that fettered about my castle.
I make a connection to the skeleton and say, "Thank you, my lord."
See, this one recognizes royalty.
So, royalty. You keep saying that we should bow to royalty.
You
Can
sound
you explain?
surprised. Do you not know who I am?
We're not from here. I didn't mean to offend, but do you think you could tell us exactly who you are?
He reaches into the collection of jewels and trinkets that rest down below his rib cage, and he withdraws from it an enormous, what appears to be like a claw, like a jet black claw, an enormous reptilian claw. And he holds it up. I am Marnier, king of the dragon's horde.
History check?
You cannot make one too.
As he places the claw on the table, you may roll a history check.
That's a 3.
I got a 12.
Ooh, okay.
Time to come
Johannes.
in for the save. With the plus
Johannes.
4 to history.
I got a
Ooh.
That's a 6.
It would be really funny if none of us have any idea.
Wow. Okay.
Dak was dead like
Johannes.
2 minutes ago, so
Johannes, you have no clue. Silva. The actual name sounds kind of familiar, but none of the rest of the title you've never heard of. Dak. You're kind of going through a lot right now. You can't really recall much of anything. Set.
Yes.
You were in a tavern, a seaside tavern, where you were once collecting information, searching for someone. And you recall in the back of your mind, in the deep recesses, 2 pirates at a table swapping old sea stories. And one of them mentioned a grand treasure that once belonged to the great King Marnier. If you found the treasure, it was said that you could live off it for the rest of your life and many afterlives as well. Arg. you hear the arg in your head.
Johannes hands on the table and stands up. Is that related to Talric Yates?
requires.
I look around at the table and just sort of sit back down, hands in my lap.
That was quite dramatic for that question.
I know not this Talric Yates you speak of, but they sound feeble and bad at their occupation. No, I am Marnier.
Wait, but
That is
Talric
my name.
Yates. But Talric Yates is the owner of this island.
Let's.
The own. What is this nonsense that your friend dribbles from his gullet?
Well, also inherently, I don't know if I would say owns the island.
He's the one who's been occupying it for decades.
Yeah, squatters' rights, I guess, but like
Right, but they didn't come
occupancy
here.
does not equal ownership.
Yeah, they at no
Well-
point did they be like, did they say, "Oh, we own the island"?
I'm just saying, if you're the king and you don't even know who's living here. I mumble. Quietly.
I kind of give like give Johannes the like really stern, just like the stop antagonizing.
Johannes, you do hear in your
host.
mind Dax saying, "It does make sense to me."
I say in my head, he just doesn't really seem like much of a king. How long has he been sleeping here?
Most kings I've met have skin.
I know.
You notice that just a reminder for everybody, when Dax speaks telepathically, there's no stutter, so that's why he's kind of lost his typical mannerisms.
Yes, because you have the benefit in the mind. You don't have language as an issue in your mind.
No.
Anyway, yes. After kind of putting that over, but yes. No. Despite what he said, no. The occupants, the occupants who are here on this island, have not, in fact, claimed they owned the island. But those who are on this island are all multiple, essentially clones of one man named Talric Yates.
I know not what you speak of, but I know this. I have stayed here for many a year. I am not allowed to leave here.
Not allowed.
This shall be my home for eternity.
Prevents you from leaving.
It's very cozy.
Perhaps I should explain further. Many, many years ago, I was a great and powerful king. It was foretold that even the great dragons feared my presence. However, at the height of my power, I was betrayed. My strongest ally.
Talric Yates?
I don't
Johannes.
know who that is. They're probably a weak loser. But anyway, my greatest ally turned on me and attempted to take over my kingdom. The battle fought was merciless and grueling, and in the end, I believed that I had conquered him, for he lay dying, impaled upon my sharpest blade. I and my fiercest soldiers held a grand celebration in our banquet hall, and I drank from my favorite chalice. But as I did, I felt cold ice run through my veins. My once friend, had gotten the last laugh on me. His poison ran quick. I was going to lose everything. My kingdom, my warriors, and worst of all, my immense treasure. In my youth, I killed a dragon and stole its hoard, claiming it for myself. That treasure was rightfully mine, and now it would be lost. I could not have that. As I sank deep into the pits of despair, I was approached by a figure. He was clothed in black robes, and I could not see his face. A hood dangled from nothing, but it spoke to me.
I look over at Dak, and in my head I say, I'm pretty sure that was Talric Yates.
Dak nods while stuffing his face with food. Still with 1,000 yards, still staring at something 1,000 yards away from in a random distance.
The figure offered me a deal. He would guarantee my treasure's safety, and that I would live. But he asked for something. Not a favor. Not even gold. And the skeleton reaches up and brushes his fingers across his empty eye sockets. He claimed my eyes for his own.
Dak stops eating.
I returned to the world of the living, but I did so a blinded man. My treasure was safe, but I could no longer perceive it. It was a cruel fate that had been bestowed upon me.
Wow. What did you
My-
do after?
I had my I needed help, as much as I hated to admit it. I had my royal vizier search the lands for the most powerful archmage they could find, one that could restore my sight. They brought me many wizards, and they all tried, but none could do it. This was an old magic, and it could not be fixed with their simple parlor tricks. Until one day, a duo of wizards came to me. They offered me a chance to be free again, and I accepted. They brought me to their tower, and then to this cave. They worked day and night, crafting spells, weaving magic from thin air, and developing a tension between them. One day, they created a potion and had me drink it. As I did, I felt the liquid burrowing down into my body, and my skin and my muscles and flesh melted away. And when it was gone, it had been replaced with all of my gold, my trophies, my precious rubies and sapphires, sterling and silver and beautiful diamonds. But over the years, it has slowly fallen away. Slowly but surely, I lose it all into the pit. And the skeleton kind of leans over and looks at the enormous bottomless pit to the right of you.
Oh, right. I forgot that there was a giant bottomless pit in this room.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Easy to miss.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any sort of like revelations from your self-reflection about the true value of treasure in one's own life and the meaning of, you know, our bonds and our material possessions and all of those things?
I don't follow.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
You know what,
entirely
that-
following either.
That tells me everything.
To the king, I say, "Do you have piercing green eyes, my lord?"
I did, yes. My vizier once described them as emeralds that could pierce the sun. He was being kind to me, of course.
Person to have brought you back. You say they were cloaked in robes?
Indeed, they looked the figure of death. Curious thing.
My lord, I have been told recently of such a being. I believe you were visited and dealt with the avatar of death. Unfortunately, they are no longer here, from what I've been told.
How do you figure? Death is death. It cannot just cease to be.
My lord, you have returned from death.
Yes, but death exists independently of us, does it not?
And yet, the avatar is gone. And we remain. But I have seen your eyes, my lord. The one with no name, but with the name of Nameless, is in possession of them.
Hmm. Do me a favor then, young buck.
I like this guy.
If you should ever come across this nameless figure, tell them they may keep mine eyes. Perhaps it will be the only treasure that escapes this room.
Understood.
One day, when all of the remaining jewels have fallen from me, I expect that I too shall be cast into the pit, and I will finally be reunited with my hoard again.
I mean, if you want to be reunited with your horde, we could just toss you in there now.
I mean that, yes. I was to say, we mean this.
Like legitimately,
way.
if that's
you
your
want-
goal, like
If you wish to be thrown down the pit,
You
We
think
could do it for a very small fee.
You think I have not tried before?
well,
I mean, I imagine that's the first thing that you would have tried is to throw yourself down, but like if an outside force were to come in and
The wizards that imprisoned me here were ruthless and precise in their torture of me. I must remain where I am until it is time. They were monsters, make no mistake. I suppose you're looking for them if you're here.
Well, we came here looking for a wizard. That has because I needed to deal with an ailment that I am currently dealing with. However, unfortunately, as you have told to us, the concept of at least the wizard giving the all likelihood that one of these wizards, the wizard we are looking for, is one of the wizards that you had dealt with. The brutality and horrid behavior checks out. So, inevitably, we kind of had a couple reasons to find him. First, it was going to be obviously to get an answer about dealing with my ailment. And then, we were going to probably, depending on the scenario, because obviously we're not ready to commit suicide right as of yet, potentially would be to beat the ever-living shit out of him.
This wizard has brought us no short supply of pain.
Yes. We had a decision between who we thought would give better solutions for my ailment, and we have chosen poorly. But here we are, nonetheless.
Well, I'm afraid I must tell you that neither wizard has been here for years now.
Yes, we came to this island through seemingly some form of portal, the wizard's tower. Then as we had mentioned, we had spoken to these clones of Talric Yates, and then they had led us here. To these caverns that seemingly led to your domain here. So as you had already given note to, yes, it has been quite a horrid experience so far. But yes,
We did end up slaying that shadow serpent, at least. We were worried that it killed our friend here. I mean, he seems to be okay. Well, for better or worse.
yes, whatever weakness you currently have that's harming your voice stack, it is at least good that we have you here physically.
Dak smiles sadly.
The skeleton gestures to the immense mirror on the other side of the room. If you wish to leave, to return to the tower, the wizards used that mirror.
Checks out.
And you're sure we can't bring you with us?
I'm afraid not.
Now,
Is there any, Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, if we do end up in whatever capacity being able to beat the shit / potentially kill said wizard, do you know if potentially that would effect that would have on you?
I do not. If what you say is true and death no longer treads our world, and yet my eyesight has not returned to me, I can only assume that should an ill fate befall the three wizards, I will remain here in perpetuity.
Well, this has been fun. But I do think we should get going and leave you to your devices if there's nothing else that we can do for you.
Mm,
But
Yes.
keep in mind that your current stature, what has brought you in here, will remain in our minds as we hopefully are able to pummel everything out of this wizard.
We really hate this guy. He seems to have caused quite a bit of harm.
Which wizard do you speak of?
We have no idea. We were told of the fact that there was a wizard. And honestly, the fact that you even say that there were 3 is news to us. As we were
I think we only
told
knew of 2.
Well, and we were told there was only 1 that belonged to this tower. So,
But 2 that built that like constructed the barrier around the island.
yes, one way or another, the list of wizards seems to grow the farther we go down this rabbit hole.
Indeed, indeed.
That being said, yes, it is what were we, where was I going?
We'll get a good few stabs in for you if we get the opportunity.
I'm not
No,
sure
but
that
yes.
you will.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was trying to ask what he asked. Right, but yes, that was what brought it. That was yeah, because we were told to come to seek a wizard that was at a tower. He hadn't been seen in some time, but that if we could find him, that he would have the capacity to cure my lycanthropy, just slowly, seemingly coursing through my veins.
Mm. So you are potentially cursed as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
My condolences. I believe there are 2 wizards that brought me here. But there are 3 that I have met in this room.
3. Huh.
The 2 wizards were at odds many a time, but the work they created together was spectacular. There was Crasius and Gregory.
but they are both still responsible for putting you in this state you're in now.
No,
No.
they brought me here. And at first their ideas were noble. But then another joined them briefly. You hold his book, and he points to you, Set.
Set, wait, Set, can you show me this book?
I will gently pull it out because I know it's an old book, so I'll gently pull it out of my bag and just set it down on the table.
If a snake could wear human skin, it would be kinder than he was.
I'll kind of pull the book over to begin and try to like open it to the side.
Yeah, I gathered as much from the a viper alike on the inside.
Silva, how deep into the book are you looking?
I mean, I'm just kind of like cracking it open to see what on the inside it kind of looks like writing wise. You know, trying to get a base lay here of what is in this book.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a D100 for me. We're going to see which page you look at first.
Oh dear. That's 30.
Okay, so page 30. Let me pull this up. Okay. Yes. This is good. You see sprawling equations, diagrams that are near incomprehensible. Many of them overlaid atop each other. Astrological signs, renderings of the stars, impossible geometry, all of it scrawled over top of itself, as if to write it on any other page would be a crime. The words are written in common until they morph into Elvish a quarter of the way through, and then change again into a deep language that you do not know.
Okay, so yes, it is as suspected. It is coded in some way. The question is just, and it seems to be based on utilizing a number of these languages. I'll close it and kind of slide it back towards Set. It may become useful to try to take a look at it sometime later, but inevitably we... Well...
Yeah, we really have...
I was going to say, maybe we don't need to rush through the... this is...
Yeah, we don't need to worry about this right now, I don't think.
Correct.
But like you said, it could be useful.
Yes.
If you wish to take it, you can. I have no use for it.
Much appreciated. Unless there's anything else, we should probably be on our way. I think we've spent a lot of time down here.
Well, Your Majesty, before we go, is there anything we can do to help you? We kind of hate this wizard, and if there's anything that we can do, I know it sounds like you've tried everything to get out of here, but if we can bring one small piece of you or your legacy, we'll be happy to.
Maybe there is something. Make a persuasion check, Bennett.
Okay.
It's like I'm just being torn from the fact that it's just like, man, we really could take a light rest here, or a rest here, but then also time is not on our side.
It was on 17, and then it was like, through. So
Damn.
I don't think I have any. Wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hold up.
No, I don't think I have any inspiration or anything like that. Okay, 8.
Unfortunate.
Okay. The skeleton peers at you. I would like to see you get your just desserts. How about this? In the north, far in the north, there is a place called Scion's, a sound. You have heard of it, I assume?
Can I make a deception check?
You may.
$11. Why I can't
Great.
roll higher than a 6 today. I rolled a 3, a 3, and a 6.
Dylan, could the rest of us do like a history check to see if we've heard of this place?
Yes, you may.
I very badly lie and say, yeah, I've heard of that place. I think.
So you haven't.
No.
I got an 8 for my history check.
Oh, these rolls tonight.
They're awful.
Nope. 10 for deck.
You.
Oh. I was just gonna say Dak is trying to fill the void where his lungs were with food.
Gotcha. It's really unsettling. You still have a stomach.
Neat.
So here's a quick question. Would we notice that Dak is not breathing?
Probably not.
That would
Too much,
require.
right?
I'll tell you what. We'll start here. Who here has the highest passive perception?
I think
I
Silva.
have
That's 15.
Mine's also 15.
And mine's 14. So
So then Johannes and Silva, you two can make a perception check.
Ooh. Okay, 18. Finally a good one.
No.
just no.
No.
I'm
Nah.
just knowing that the L is being taken. It's not a critical failure, but I can assure you it's a failure.
Okay.
It doesn't, when
Johannes.
it's not above double digits, it's probably going to be a failure in this instance.
Johannes,
Mm-hmm.
you do kind of clock that Dak isn't really like. There's no visible movement of him breathing, though it's up to you whether or not you prioritize that in this moment.
I give him a side eye, and then I'm gonna not say anything.
How bombastic is it?
Bombastic side eye.
Wow.
Bombastic,
The skeleton continues.
offensive side eye.
Far to the north, Scion's sound. Yes, I heard the wizards speak of it. It seems they found the rest of my horde there, untouched. Death had kept its word, you see. However, one for cruel jokes, I couldn't believe it when they told me. The gold lay safe. Its guardian, an ancient dragon.
Ironic.
I would ask this. Go to the Scion Zone.
How do you spell that?
There,
Is it like
SCIONS.
Scion? Like a okay.
Scion's Sound.
Okay.
There is a landmass nearby. We chose its name, Stormhome. It is where my kingdom rose, though I imagine it has changed severely now. But there is where you will find the dragon and my horde. I ask this. If you go there, there is a pendant. It belonged to my wife, Gabriella. If you could find it and take it from the dragon's clutches, I would be most thankful.
I mean, it's an ancient dragon, so obviously we can't make concrete promises on that, but we'll at the very least give it a shot. If we're in the area.
Yes,
I make
at least
a connection to
potentially
the
maybe
king.
we can maybe have a conversation.
I do make a mental connection with the king and say, we will do our best. And that will ensure we at least die trying. I offer a weak smile to the king.
As long as you do not try dying, boy.
Boy.
I bow and then continue to eat.
All of you, make sure you have gotten your fill. And then it would be best for you to leave this place. I fear the longer you stay, the more likely you are to be trapped as I am.
As he says that, before we leave, I do want to try and channel my medium ability to see if I can get a glimpse at anything off of him and see if there's anything that I can,
Make a
suggest
medium
or
check.
do anything like that. So that is 4. It's a 16.
Oh, okay. On a 16. There is not the enormous influx of souls like you felt in the previous room. But there is a singular soul, weak and feeble, that you feel. But it does not lie within this skeleton. It rests far down in the pit. Impossibly far.
I'm noticing that I want to try to almost pull at that energy. If I focus hard enough and just kind of try to loosen it, if it feel stuck.
You'll need to make another medium check, but you will do this at disadvantage.
Okay. That is a 13.
You attempt to pull at this feeling, but you find that you are blocked by an immense weight pressed down upon it. Far too strong for you.
You said it's a very weak soul, though. Like, it seems close to
Feeble.
yeah.
Longing for its host.
I'll kind of open my eyes after doing that, look towards the king and go, well, it's no wonder that nothing has worked for you. You are stuck down there, not up here.
Then it is only a matter of waiting.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you'll be waiting too much longer.
That is good.
The least amount of solace I can offer you. I attempted to loosen it, but it is being held down by something much stronger than I.
Hmm. Perhaps it is being held down by my immense guilt for my obsession over gold instead of valuing those around me, as your short friend here tried to eloquently explain before. Or perhaps he is an idiot and does not know what he's talking about. Who's to say?
50-50. Well, I wish you a speedy reunion with your soul.
And I wish you a fruitful reunion with the world at large.
Set will kind of nod their head and gesture to the rest of the group and start walking towards the mirror.
I go to walk towards the mirror and I give the king a knowing glance and then bow and kneel for like a brief second, just out of respect.
Now you're just patronizing me.
Isn't that part of the fun?
Dak does get up and, after shoving more food into his pockets, bows. Before walking after and joining Set and Johannes.
Yes, let's get going.
Set.
Yes.
As you are the first to approach the mirror, you are also the first to notice something on the ground near it. A very small, looks like a flat rectangle caught underneath of a rock.
Kneel down and get a closer look at it.
It appears to be some sort of library card of some sort.
I'll go ahead and pick it up and see who it's denoted to.
You recognize it. It's the same card you lost not too long ago.
Interesting. I'll pick it up and be like, Victoria can't get mad at me anymore, and just put it back in my bag. Well, if that says anything, this definitely should be our way back. And I'll kind of go to push through the mirror.
You are met, surprisingly, with zero resistance. Not this time. Your hand passes through the mirror You feel a chill passing over you. The king of the dragon's horde, looking at all of you, raises an empty, aged chalice and says, "May fortune find you all, but may fortune also feed you, as it has me." And he returns to his dormant state, sitting at the table, staring down at his riches, all that he has left. Set. It is almost effortless for you to continue through the mirror. And if you wish to do so, you may.
Absolutely.
And the rest of you may follow, if you wish.
I shall.
Yep, I do as well.
Yes.
The four of you, united once again, move through the mirror, and in an instant find yourselves back in the room from whence you came. Nearly identical to how you had left it. Only now, there is a polished brass entryway on the left side, where before there had only been a wall.
Mm.
A new path open to you. And perhaps the key to your exit. But we will not know until we meet again.
God,
We're
please
free
help me.
though.
Oh,
Kind
We
of.
will have to find out next time if this path shall lead you at last to the answers you seek, so that you may continue on your way. But until then, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for playing. And remember, there are theories of a sixth sense that lasts far beyond the other five we are familiar with. In the world of Eberron, there is a seventh. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye, y'all.
We're finally free from the island.
Yay.
The
we
island
still
arc
have-
is over.
but we still have to climb this goddamn tower.
Wayno arc is
Wizard, man.
over.
At least
I
you know,
hate-
at least it's cool we got to meet a Necron.
Fair. Hey, guys, I don't have a voice and I must scream.
I have
That
no mouth.
was great. Because there was a lot of potential options there. So that was a really, really good choice.
Yes.
Very interesting.
That was sick.
Man, good stuff. I will say also, it feels good to be back and playing D&D. It's been like a month,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that we're back.
Totally. Been a month for this game. It was 2 months for Embers there. So
I'm glad that everyone's
Yes, it
feeling
was.
better. The
I'm
holidays
like,
are over.
now y'all aren't allowed to get fucking sick again. Like,
I know. Have
come
your
on.
antibodies.
none of you
built up.
bastards can get sick anymore.
Bro.
If you're gonna get sick, do it at the same time so that we
Yeah,
all get
and
better at
now-
the same time.
See,
we
but
can't
now-
stagger it.
See, and now all I need is for anybody that isn't fucking Bennett and Francisco in this room to fucking answer about the group that we
I know.
have.
I know.
pick
I
a
am surprised no one else
fucking day.
messaged.
Yeah, we'll
Especially
figure it out.
because one of those is supposed to be this Sunday.
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 Super Bowl
I'm
Sunday.
gonna also message.
That's the thing. So, well, that's the thing, right? Because that's what I want. That's why I want to know, right? I want to know if people are going to potentially want to do it Super Bowl Sunday, or if people are going to want to do it the day after especially Mitch and Nee wanting to do it the day after the Lunar New Year party. I mean, granted, they're
Yep.
not hosting, so it's not like that part's a huge deal. but still.
I guess that's fair. I
would
can't
like to
do
know.
it this Sunday. I'm going to a birthday party.
Well, then write that
Okay,
in
I
the
mean that's
poll.
fine. That's good
Wait,
to
didn't-
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
But
that's
did you-
fine, but like that's the thing, right? That's why I need an answer from more than 2 people.
This motherfucker. You already said that this Sunday was good.
Which one?
You.
I
This
did?
upcoming, yeah. You voted.
I put down the 4th.
Oh wait,
and
no,
the
you only voted for the next one, right?
Yes, 4th and the
Okay.
18th.
Okay, There we go.
So, fight me.
there we go. We're probably gonna do the 18th. We'll probably have to do the 18th then.
Which is fine if that's most likely, but as I'm saying, obviously
Yeah.
we can also then look at the 25th. Like we can keep going back to when, people have the capacity to do it, but like having answers or comments are helpful. Instead of not only that, but then having
Yeah.
the votes be like you put for both and then Mitch put for the 11th, which is like really good, but it's nice to know, like in a scenario where you didn't vote for the 4th, it's nice to know why. Also, it would be nice if many of the other people in said group could also just vote.
Oh yeah. Well, we were out of town this last
Hey,
week.
by the
which is
way,
why I
we're
said
still
no
live.
4th.